Wednesday, August 23rd, 2023, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Today, we're going to look at why gold and silver. Why do I go on about gold and silver many times? Of course, some of you know why, but some of you are new to the channel, and that's what I want to talk about. And I'm going to show you also some charts of silver, because I think silver is starting to look very interesting. And this is, of course, not trading advice, but it's just a signal to those who might be frustrated with what's happening and has been happening in silver for the last well, let's say 2.5 years or so. So I first bought gold back in 2002, and the reason I did it was because back during the dot-com bubble, my pension did well, and it wasn't really invested in internet stocks, but all the stock markets did well during that time, from the mid to the late 90s, early 2000s, and then there was a big correction, and it took quite a big hit. So my wife and I sat down and we thought, you know, what can we do? And for some reason, we came up with gold as an alternative, as a diversifier, and we said maybe we should look into buying a little bit of gold. And at that time, of course, there was no YouTube. You couldn't go to YouTube and watch people and about gold and what to do. So what I did was look into it. We had Google and search engines, and I did. And I found like a dealer. He was a jeweler, actually, in the city of London. I worked in the city of London at the time, John Haynes. And I bought some Krugerrands. And that's the other thing. If I'd known back then that sovereigns and Britannias were coins of the realm and capital gains tax-free, I probably would have bought those. But you learn. That's what I'm trying to say here. You have to keep learning. Yes, you can listen to me and learn a lot as well through what I did, through my errors as well, through trial and error and experience. But one thing I have to say, with anything in life, if you get interested in something and you want to get involved, you have to do a lot of your work and research. So that's the first thing I say. So yes, I was glad though I bought a Krugerrand, and why? Well, because I'd never owned any bullion gold, gold coins or anything before that. The only kind of gold I had was my wedding ring, and holding a gold Krugerrand, a coin, was a brand new experience, because you don't realize how our copper nickel coins, they're really tokens, are really like insignificant when you hold a gold coin. So that's one thing I would say that is you need to do it. You can't just keep thinking about it. Until you own one of these, you won't know how special gold is. And I remember bringing the coins into the office because I went during lunch to get them, and showing it to my colleagues, and they were like, wow. And some of them started buying it too. So there you go. That's how it works, and that's how you get people into it. And eventually, I think a few months later, I bought some silver as well. I got involved in silver. And many of you ask, what kind of silver or gold should I buy? What purity? Well, one thing I have to say about gold and silver is if you've read The Austrian School, if you've read What Has Government Done to Our Money by Murray Rothbard, you will know that gold and silver are the most marketable commodities. And what does that mean? Well, they're very liquid. They will be accepted for the local fiat currency anywhere, and people will pay for the silver and gold content. It doesn't matter if it's 999, if it's 50%, or if it's 3/8, like a lot of the jewelry in the UK. The dealer or the pawnbroker, they will weigh it and work out the silver or gold content and pay you for that. So I wouldn't be too concerned about the purity of metals. I wouldn't be too concerned either about where it was minted, even though in some countries it's more advantageous tax-wise, of course, I have to admit. And again, you got to do your homework with that. And I do have, of course, affiliates, especially in North America, who can help with the tax situation. Some people are worried as well about confiscation. If you are worried about confiscation, I recommend you speak to ITM Trading and Lynette Zing's team over there. All the details are below in the description. They specialize in strategies to safeguard your wealth and to try to protect against gold confiscation. Not everyone thinks that gold will be confiscated, so you might not be interested in that. But in terms of confiscation, of course, any coin that's pre-1933 in the US, I think is exempt from confiscation. So I'm not in the US, I'm in the UK, but I like all kinds of coins. And I've got here a 1904 $20 gold piece. There you go, 1904. That's just under an ounce of gold. I think it's 0.9675. And that's why $20.67 is an ounce. And talking about weights as well and purity, one thing that I've always had and invested in is a scale. It's always good to have a scale to make sure that the coin is legitimate. And there are websites out there like taxfreegold.co.uk, and even for Americans you can use that give all the weights of the coins, the purity, the gold weight, and yeah, so one of these will go a long way. This is an old one, UK scales, and there you go. And you can weigh your coins there. So that's a good thing to have. For of course, bigger bars, that's not very useful, but for coins it is. And talking about bars, there are gold bars, of course, as well. I don't really have many gold bars. I used to in the past, but I changed a lot of them, exchanged a lot of them for sovereigns and Britannias because of the capital gains tax. But here I've got 50 ounce, troy ounce Engelhard silver bar. I've got a little one here, it's a 10 ounce. And of course, I've got a $10 coin from Australia. That's like 10 ounces. It's a Kookaburra coin. That's a big coin. And then you have, of course, the normal coins that used to circulate. The coins that used to be money, like these shillings from pre-1920 in the UK. Yeah, I've got US Constitutional as well. I've got some rounds as well. There's all kinds of stuff you can get, and a lot of it, of course, is preference. But you need to do your homework as well. I can only try to give you a general idea. But the most important thing, I think, is to have a little bit of gold and silver, or a lot. It depends on your circumstance. Make sure you keep it safe, or you store it with not a bank, I would say, with a private vault. Here in the UK, Gold Investments, my affiliate, they've been my affiliate for like 4 or 5 years now. They've been in business since 1981, and I've dealt with them since 2002 and 3. I started dealing with Mike Tempo, who's retired now. Mike's sons, Oliver and Simon, are there. Very reputable. They will store it for you as well at a pretty decent cost. It's not that bad. So there are ways to keep it safe, of course, and you need to be discreet, of course, about that. And before we look at silver, the technical picture for silver, which is starting to look quite interesting to me, I want to talk about another reason why I've stuck with gold and silver, why I've tried to keep accumulating gold and silver over the years. Well, it's now 21 years. And it's because when you buy gold and silver, you start looking into gold and silver, and you learn a lot about how important they've been in the past in terms of the monetary system, and how they've been kind of put to the side, not because they're not useful and they're not the best money, but because they hamper the statists. They hamper big government. And anything that hampers big government, in my book, is a good thing to have. And of course, many of you know that the mainstream media and big government and the globalists, they're in bed together. And back in 2004, for example, I wasn't really too aware of that. I had a feeling of that, but then I saw this editorial in the FT. This was from April 16th, 2004. The price of gold was at around $400. And the FT wrote this: going gold. The pointlessness of holding bullion continues to sink in. I thought it was such a contrarian indicator, such a outrageous editorial, that I had to cut it off from the newspaper. At the time, I still bought the paper edition and laminated. So here it is. That was like something that gave me the signal I'm on the right path, because they don't want you, the average Joe, to own any gold. And it's still the same to this day. And that's why they kind of manipulate the market to make it frustrating, so people don't get into the market. Of course, over the long term, it's impossible to keep it suppressed, because people will wake up. And I still believe 100% that gold and silver will come back, because they always do. Because fiat currencies, they never last forever. Not even the fiat dollar. They always go to zero. So again, if you want to look into buying gold and silver, or if you already do your homework. Find a reputable dealer where you live, or online. Go for the best deal that you can get, but make sure they're reputable as well. And if you want to help this channel, maybe check out some of my affiliates below in the description. And that's it. So let's look at silver, because over the last few days, silver is been doing quite well. It's kind of outperforming gold a little bit, and we know that in a precious metals bull market, silver always kind of leads the way. And I think it was I don't know who coined the phrase, but They said that silver is like gold on steroids or something like that. But I've got two charts here. The first chart is, well, kind of short term. It's from around, let's see, 2010, and it's a monthly chart. And I've drawn some lines here. So there's a trend line from the high in April 2011, when we almost touched $50, to the high in August 2020 when we touched $30. And you can see that we're there's like a battle here to break through that line. And then there's another channel that's been building since February 2021. That's when silver squeeze started, and silver tried to break $30. And of course, the bullion banks, the CFTC, had to tamp down the silver price. And that expression was used by the head of the CFTC. I've even forgotten his name now. Yeah, we had to tamp down demand there. But yes, and there's a battle here, but it looks like the selling pressure we've had this month is starting to alleviate, and we're starting to go back up. I would say that if we can close above, let's say 25 by next week, by the end of the month, that would be very bullish, because that would mean it would be like an outside month for silver. Again, I qualify that very bullish because the bullion banks could come right back and try to knock it down again. But it looks like a pretty, how can I say, intense battle here. And yeah, it's a battle within a much bigger war, I would say. It's a war that's been going on probably for over 100 years to try to keep silver away from the general public, because silver is the people's money, I would say. And then the other chart I have is a very long-term chart, and many of you probably have seen this teacup and handle chart. It's a multi-generational one, actually. It's like 40-year-old, or even more. And I've plotted it as a logarithmic chart and also as a quarterly instead of monthly. And you can see why the earlier chart is so important, why it's so important for them to keep it below, well, to keep it suppressed here below 25 and 30 especially, because once it breaks through 25, 26, and then 30, we're off to the races, I think. And this is what I think some of the open interest and commitment of traders data on COMEX is showing. I don't follow those that closely. And why is that? Well, because I did work in the futures and options market, but I think silver is not about trading in futures and options, even though it does affect the price. My view is that I try to concentrate on stacking it. And I think that's what you should do too. And this is not advice, of course, but it's the way I feel about it. So there you go. Why gold and silver? And the last word I would say is because gold and silver are precious. And you can tell that when you hold them and when you buy them. And you don't want to get rid of it. And that's why it's also a good savings instrument. You only get rid of it when you're desperate, really, when you have an emergency. When you have fiat in the bank, it's very easy to spend it. So I see a lot of people out there, maybe on Twitter and elsewhere, oh, I bought gold or silver here, it looks bullish. And then it doesn't work out and they say, oh, I just sold it. Well, those people are not really buying gold and silver, they're trading. So there you go, there's a difference. With that then, let's quickly look at where the markets are this morning. It's 8:35 a.m. London time. So let's have a look here. We've got spot gold at 1902.50. It's up just over $5. The high's been 1905 and the low has been 1897. Silver is up 28 cents or 1.2%. It's at 23.67. High's been 76, the low 35. So do I think we could go up to 25 in the next week or so? It's very possible. Silver can go up two bucks in a day very easily. So we'll keep an eye on it. The low today, by the way, has been 23.35. The Dow futures is up 105 points. The NASDAQ 100 futures up 93, is just above 15,000. S&P is up just under 20 points. To the currencies, sterling is down 0.1%, 127.16. The euro is down 1/4 at 108.18. The dollar is down 1/3 versus the yen at 145.46. The dollar is down 1/8 versus the yuan at 729.77. Let's have a look at the Russian ruble. Well, the dollar is up 1% versus the ruble at 94.30. Aussie dollar is unchanged, 64.18. The dollar is unchanged versus the Canadian dollar, 135.57. Kiwi dollar is down about 0.2 at 59.35. WTI crude is down 0.5% at 79.12. Brent is down 0.5% as well at 83.27. Platinum is up just over $1 at 925. High grade copper is up 1/3%, just below 380. Bond markets have stabilized a little bit. The 10-year yield is down 7 basis points at 4.26. So it looks like they've been able to keep that yield from breaking through that 4.33, 4.34 level. But I think it's that battle around that level is not over yet. The UK 2-year yield is at 5.15, so that has come off a little bit. The 10-year as well is down about 3 at 4.62. So it looks like they've been able to stabilize these yields and stabilize the prices as well. And the Japanese 10-year yield, that's like creeping up though. That's around 0.67 and the high's been 0.68. So there you go. With that, I'm going to wish you all a very good day. Take care. Bye.